Welcome back, family. This is the old school traveler. I'm back from another trip. And like I said, I've been doing these Panama videos lately because I spent a whole month in Panama going all over the country. I went to the beaches on both sides, the East Coast, the Caribbean Sea, the Gulf of Americas, I guess you call it now, the Gulf of Mexico. And I went to the Pacific side. I went all over the place. Boy, did I have a good time. I went all over the place because I want to find a place to be a luncheon pad for when I go to South America and go down to places down in South America. So I wanted to find a place that, I can call home when I'm not home in this part of the world. I'm pretty much set on Munich is going to be my place in Europe because I like the location of Munich and I like the fact that I can fly anywhere in the world or drive to like 8 different countries all within 3 or 4 hours. I really do like that. But Panama, though, there's a city in Panama that I kind of like, but people say negative things about it, and not in a negative way. Now, the city I went to was called David, D-A-V-I-D. I'm pronouncing it correct, David. Now, I went there and you got a lot of good things. It's got all the shopping, all the major stuff. It's all there. There's no big deal, no issue with that. The only thing I got an issue with in that whole little town, and when I say little town, it's just like Panama, third biggest city, behind Panama City, Cologne, and then you got David. Now, here's the thing about people talk about a lot. David is pretty, it's cheap, the infrastructure is nice, the roads are nice, no issues there at all. The only issue I have, man, it is hot as hell. You feel like you walking around in a microwave. I'm talking about year round. And some people say it's the hottest city in Panama. No, it's not the hottest city in Panama. It's the hottest city in the world. That city is hot as hell. It's one of the places that you hope is cloudy every day. But you move there so you can get sunshine every day. But once you get your sunshine and the sun, that's when you realize, hey, these UV rays ain't no joke here. They see your body and they just attack your body like a disease because they're going to hit you hard. And, there were so many times that, I was there for a week. There were so many times you walk around and you take your hat off and sweat just run down your face. And you don't feel like you're sweating when you're walking around. But boy, when you hit an AC or you go in a grocery store or you go somewhere with AC, you're going to know just how hot it was outside. You can say, holy hell, all this sweat. And I was drinking water, man. I was just drinking water. I feel like I drink a beach every day. Not bleach, a beach every single day. That's how I felt. I was sweating, and you're going to lose weight. Well, some of you will lose weight. Some of you just going to be fat forever. Fat is just you don't do anything to try and lose weight. But I tell you what, though, the bee is going to give you a run for the money because if you go down there fat, you're going to come back fat, just not as fat. But you're going to come back fat, though. So that's kind of how the bee. But I like the fact that, you got the grocery stores, you got the medical centers. There was nothing that I really wanted that I could not get there. There was nothing that I wanted that I could not get there. No. They got like a Costco, they call it Price Smart. They got grocery stores and then they got the local grocery stores. And I've never had a problem shopping in foreign countries. Some people struggle. Oh, it's the language. Well, guess what? They got Google Translate. If you don't understand that, the packaging is the exact damn same you get in America. The packaging looks the exact same. There's nothing funny about the packaging. And, Haagen-Dazs is Haagen-Dazs. I don't care where you live at. Haagen-Dazs is Haagen-Dazs. The mall's got everything you want, and a lot of people speak English, but they don't learn Spanish. That's something new for you. Learn Spanish. Especially if you're going to be going to these places and you want to live there and you want to brag about them, telling your friends and stuff, you go on here and you're putting up YouTube, learn a different language. I've never had a problem learning a different language because I always think that's kind of fun, being challenged to be smarter. To me, it's fun as hell. Now, I know a lot of you don't think it's fun because now everybody knows how stupid you are. But my whole point is this. David is a city that if you want to get a mid-sized city with everything in it, like in the States, even some of the high-end places, shopping places like Rolex, like Gucci and all this stuff, it's got some of that stuff too. It's got, you'll be shocked at some of the stuff it has. Because Panama don't have, 100 cities with 1 million people like America do. Panama doesn't have that. No. Panama got 2 or 3 cities, maybe 4 cities with more than 50,000 people. And Panama City itself, the capital, has half the population of the whole country in its suburbs. So if you go to Debide, which is the 3rd largest city, you got almost everything you got in Panama City. I didn't see anything I needed or I was lacking. And now, like I said, the only thing I saw about it was hot as hell. As far as the crime goes, didn't see anything. Every city got a bad side. Every city. And if you go to it, that means you're looking for it, and normally you're gonna find it. And Debide, I rode around a lot. In the videos, I'm showing you me riding around. Walking around, riding around. I just didn't see anything that made me feel unsafe. And I walked around at night in every city I went to. I never felt unsafe. Now, what I felt unsafe about, if you walking and you ain't looking down, you're going to step through a sewer drainage, a manhole, a cracked sidewalk, and I ain't talking about an inch crack. No. The whole damn block missing. Yeah, so you need to walk around, and Debide is no better or no worse than Panama City or any other city in Panama. They don't put a lot of money into cracked sidewalks or picking up trash. They don't put a lot of money into it. So if you think that, hey, I'm looking for this perfect American city, which we don't have in America that are perfect, you ain't gonna find one there either. Nope. There's certain things they focus on a lot better than we do, and some things that we focus on better than they do. It's not anybody's wrong. Perfect example. Medical and education is almost free and it's top notch in Panama. That's where they focus their money at. We focus our money on making money. Investing in stocks and trying to run scams. We got different investments types. Now, saying that, if you want to live in Panama and Debide, you're not far from the ocean. In Panama, when you say you're not far from something, it's weird because you're really not far distance-wise, but you're far driving time-wise. You are far from certain places driving time-wise. And the reason being, you only got a few roads that are straight, that are like interstates. The rest of it is just like, country roads, but with a lot of curves in them. So you're really not going to be going very, very fast, no matter where the hell you go at. You're not going to be going very, very fast. So saying that, there are not as many Americans in Debide as other cities. Nothing like Buketi, no. So you got to learn the language to get around, which is good, but there's not as many Americans in Debide. It's not really an expat community. Now, don't get me wrong, they have some there, which is not bad. They have a few there, but it's not like Buketi where you're going to see them every damn block. You look down the street, binoculars, and all you see is Americans. That's all you see. Now, Debide is more like you might be 5% of the population, and they live throughout Debide because Debide land-wise is the decent size. Like Mobile, Alabama, where if you go to Buketi, land-wise, it's jam-packed. There's a small space, and all you see is damn expats, not Debide. Because Americans, a lot of them, I don't understand. One thing that I need people to answer for me. What I don't understand is that you get Americans, they say I want to be on the beach, but then they say it's too hot. They don't want to be out in the sun. The beach and sun tends to go together. I don't know where you're from or where you went to school at, how you were raised, but they tend to go together. Usually people use the word sunny beaches, and that means you got sun around you. But, so the beach is not far, but you got all the sun without the water. Yes, you got all the sun without the water. And Debide is not far from Costa Rica. So for a lot of you, you can just hop up and go to Costa Rica and you're good to go. Now, saying that with Debide, I believe that you can make it with nothing because they got coffee fields and all kind of stuff around there. I'm not saying come here and be a farmer, but I think you can buy a cheap investment, some kind of company, a bakery or whatever, and I think you can make it in Debide. I don't think you need much to get started to make it, but there's so many side hustles. I didn't meet nobody who only had one job. No, No, everybody I knew had 2 or 3 jobs, which is the way you're supposed to be when you're young. Now, when you turn 60, 65, you're not supposed to have 2 or 3 jobs. You're supposed to be sitting your ass down taking a break. That's what you're supposed to be doing. If you got 2 or 3 jobs and you're 65 years old, you got some problems already. It's called never retiring, because it ain't going to happen. Okay? Unless it's something you really love, or you helping your kid out, or somebody you know out. But if you depend on the money, if you are depending on the money, you're screwed. But David is one of those cities that I've seen a couple older Americans that live a little bit north of David, and I actually talked to them. They've been out here 15, 20 years, man. They love it. They love it. So it's one of those things that if you ever thought about going into Panama and going to certain cities, David is one that I would highly consider. I think that one reason I like David a lot, I think one reason that I do like it a lot, because there's not so many foreigners and Americans around. That's just refreshing. You ain't got to deal with politics and race and religion and all kind of other crazy stuff. You can just go out and shop and just be yourself. You ain't got to sit there and be wondering about who don't like me. And it's almost like some of these expat communities are kind of like high schools. They kind of like high schools. It's just same silly ass shit you get in high school. He don't like me. He don't like my friend. Who gives a damn? When you're in your 60s and 70s, you shouldn't care who likes you. Because you know what? Whoever didn't like you when you 60 and 70 didn't like you when you was damn 30. They didn't like you at all. No, so you shouldn't, that shouldn't even be on your radar who likes you and don't like you. I tell people all the time, I don't want a lot of friends. Friends are kind of like family. At some points, they can be needy. I don't want a bunch of them. Some people always want to impress somebody. Man, you in your 60s, 70s, 80s. Who in the hell you got to impress? You've impressed yourself by living that damn long. You've impressed yourself. Live with that, and that should be enough for you to say, you know what? I did good in life. I made this damn far, and everybody thought I'd be dead 30 years ago. That's just my thinking, my logic. And you know what? And I get fired up when people want to have a lot of friends. They want to be important, and yet they broke as hell. I got family members like that. I got family members broke as a damn joke, but want you to believe they got a lot. And they ain't got nothing, because when they broke, they have a way of asking you for money without asking you. Boy, I sure like to have that Cadillac. Well, guess what? You ain't got the money for it. You ain't gonna get it, because I'm not gonna give it to you. I'm not gonna give it to you. But the one thing about David too, David had a lot more younger people than they had more younger people than any city I went in Panama, percentage wise, outside of Panama City. Because I think when the young people, when they get a certain age, they know that they're gonna make it at all. They got to do it in Panama City. They're not gonna make it in these small little towns and stuff. Not for a career, unless they got some skill that town needs and there's nobody supplying that particular skill. I did see some of that, like a plumber, bus driver, because you can drive a city bus for them 50 years, But I did see that though. But as far as I didn't see a lot of indigenous people. Now I'm saying that, but I only shopped at stores, like the big chain stores in Panama, and they tend to be a little bit more expensive than say some of the little mom and pop markets around the neighborhood. The big chain stores all nice, clean, pretty, floors all clean. And the mom and pop stores that I saw on these side streets, they're the ones that everything's in Spanish, and the Panamanians go into those stores who know where the best deal is. Where a lot of foreigners say, we still have the mindset that we go into Walmart, and they don't have a Walmart. They have stores that sell a lot of different things, but it ain't like it's one store that's going to sell everything you need. And so, like I said, we have that, Americans have the Walmart mindset where I want to go to one store and get everything for the whole week. That doesn't exist in Panama. It does not exist. So if you're looking for that, you're never, ever going to find that. So saying that, I didn't go to some of the mom and pop stores in David, because on the main street, they had all the stores that I knew had what I wanted, the stuff I needed. And plus, one thing about Panama, I like spring water. They sell mineral water everywhere. Spring water, you just can't find it. And I'm thinking, y'all got all these damn springs and rivers and stuff. Ain't nobody decided to bottle that. But maybe somebody did. They just wasn't Panamanian. But the people are just so nice, easy going. And if you try and speak Spanish, they would try and speak English back to you, so you can have a conversation. But if you don't make an attempt to speak Spanish, they don't make an attempt to speak English. And I like that attitude. I like the atmosphere, because if you're not going to put your country in my country and want me to adjust to your habits. I like that a whole lot. But David is one of those cities that I could see one day getting a lot of expats, because Boquete and some of the other cities are in the volcano range. In other words, they are on volcanoes, and so they really can't expand or build anywhere else. The bead is like really like almost in Panamanian desert. I mean, almost like in the desert. Now I'm saying that, but it's not a desert like Africa or like Mojave Desert here in the States. It's not one of those kind of deserts, but it's kind of like a pretty much flat. It's flat, and it's kind of cool. But they got places and they got land to expand and grow. So that's where the new growth is going to come from. Because Panama City, you don't have 4 sides to it. Panama City really only got 2 sides to it. It's got the beach blocks one side, and the hills block the other side. So it's only so much. And then the canal blocks the north side, and the airport is on the south side. So Panama City is not a place, but now they do have a lot of high rises, but the bead got all 4 sizes that you can attempt to grow or build new houses and stuff. And it's got an airport, which is really, really important. The airport only goes to one city today, but it's got an airport. And so that makes sense. That's where all the new building or all the new places will come from. It's got an airport. I know Cologne got an airport, but I don't know how commercial it is. The bead only goes to one city from the bead, and that's Panama City. And that's like a 40-minute flight. So it's not a big deal. By the time you get in the air and you landing already. So it's not bad. So nothing wrong with that at all. And I like flying from David to Panama City, because really when you walk off the plane, you go straight to your taxi. No immigration, none of this stuff, because it's an inter-country flight. So, but everything is just so much simpler there. So saying that, I could definitely see myself, I would definitely visit David again. I mean, no problems there at all. I just won't go when it's 200 degrees. And that's how it's going to feel when you go there. You're going to say, hey, this is hot as hell here. What happened here? So that's just me. Now, I'll visit one other city while I was in Panama, and I'm going to tell you about it. But all these little cities up north, or what, well, they call it north. We call it going out west. Yeah, we call it going out west. When you go north in Panama, they call it going out west. All those cities in the mountain area, David is the hub for all those cities. You can't get to any of them without going to David. All your medical is in David. The only airport in the area is in David. So you kind of stuck going to David whether you want to or not. And most people go there once or twice a month to do all their grocery shopping. I mean, so you kind of stuck there a little bit, Now, yes, I can live in David. I can make it if I got nothing, but I'm never going to be in a situation where I need to make it and have nothing. Some people will be, because some people would retire on Social Security by themselves. I'm not in that category. And the bead is a lot cheaper than the Buketi. It's a lot cheaper than Buketi. I went the first time as part of the Panama relocation tour. I went the first time. Second time, I went on my own, and I enjoyed it a whole lot. It was not too hot for me for this time of the year. Now, I'm not saying that won't happen when I go back, but I thought it was nice. Oh, it's not breezy like some of the other cities who are on mountains and other stuff, but it's a good lunching point if you want to go to Costa Rica and other places and stuff too. But I can handle the bead, because if I want to get away or do something, all I gotta do is just fly down to Panama City in 40 minutes. And the ticket from David to Panama City, the ticket was like $60 total. It's something ridiculous price. When you fly into intra-country flights, no matter where you go in the world, it's always cheap, unlike America. Now, America is a big country land-wise, but hell, so are some of the other countries. Not all of them, but some are big. It's just that they ain't got to deal with all the politics and all the profits and all the other kind of stuff that we got to deal with. They ain't got unions and they ain't got this and this and this. You can just hop on and just go. Now, Africa ain't like that. Africa, they treat you better than America do because you ain't got no choice. And every country only got one airline. If they got two airlines, one of them you ain't never heard of, that's the one that's probably going to crash. So you got to be careful. But getting around Panama from Debide to any other place, it's easy. If Copa goes there, it's easy. So this is the old school traveler telling you, I'll see you the next time.